Hello and welcome back to a personal code of conduct. And I'm recording her outside today because, okay, the reason this time I have my usual awkward visitor. No, it's not a she person. It's a parent. My only parent is around, and I don't know. I don't find he has this thing about talking to yourself that he always has strongly, and this whole podcast talking to myself. So, as usual, I didn't find anything that I don't know how to find. I didn't figure out anything. This is just the kind of loud part of fashion. I feel the headphones are a better medium than um me just talking to the phone and random earpieces because I don't know, they just don't have that stuff. So what are we going to be talking about this week? This is picture came to me in the middle of whatever. I was always I'm going to talk about all my xianxia and everything. But am I literally going to
Happy Sunday.
Babu. Am I literally going to turn this into how I put it? Am I literally going to turn this whole thing into I review web novels thing? No. But I was thinking about my thought processes and how I was reading stuff that I'm really not comfortable with the mindset of the main character and stuff, and enjoying things that you definitely wouldn't, and also subconscious messages that just fit into your mind. And the final thing is understanding that things in books are just opinions. It's always just opinions that I shouldn't, and that's why Zendia novels remind me that even when I'm reading self-help books or proper stuff, I shouldn't take what the words written in a book as gospel because in the end it is written by a human being. I wouldn't say I'm equal to because there's a base of knowledge that obviously the individual has I do not, and I feel in a grand scheme of things we're basically equal. I think social. I don't know. Human beings are trash, but I see that build this whole thing is looking at messages that are in various young journals. I remember, if I can't remember it was probably a trashy book or it was really sad. Okay, if I was really sad I probably remember it a lot. I don't think I haven't been reading Western novels in a while, and I should because published Western novels make more sense and they don't have this translation inaccuracy that published Eastern novels do. I should, and web novels are light novels. They might be 3,000 chapters long, but they're literally for casual daily reading where you're trying to laugh and abandon your brain. So if I want moving and plotting, and not just self-satisfaction of our main character, he's making it seem like he's some kind of educated human being when he's just a weird pornographic. Whatever. But I think I'm going to go through it novel by novel and understanding and try to also look at my life because understanding that some messages are subconscious and just because something speaks to you doesn't mean you take it to heart. And another thing I want to point out is the fact that I worry I will become the older people in my life. Not that shitty people or anything, it's just based on our nation as a whole, most people in that generation didn't really their full themselves. Just imagine where the education was going up, that kind of vibes. I also feel they're not the kind of people I sort of want to find myself being. But you find yourself understanding you're becoming like them every day, and it just bothers you. So today we'll be talking about weird things that I agree with, subconscious messages that annoy me, and random things that just shows up on things. Oh god, I literally came. Okay, it's a floor length. I literally taking this floor in a floor length dress that has no sleeves, and I'm human being, protect your whole goddamn body from mosquitoes. And this is not an exercise job or anything, so it's I'm taking breaks. I'm literally going to fast and a long dress, so it's it will just I don't know what's the time. It's 7:30. I'm hoping to work for an hour. So my parents here, they probably not spend is a personal code of conduct. And last week did it. I don't know. It was just so much fun for me to post like last week. So I didn't. What's the word? I didn't put. What's the word? I didn't put any background music. I hope you remember to put background music. Let's just say I'll post my walk. Maybe it's like when I get to the end of the essay, I'll post it and listen to like on my walk mark after I've done the end of the essay or what have you. So getting in like dropping for personal code of conduct thing and recording. A personal code of conduct that we're talking about. I know I've just rough summary of I can't advise something. We'll be talking about problems that have with main characters in the novels, but like in a sense of like subliminal messages that just pass across to you, like how you understand it clearly, and subliminal messages that are passed across to me by like individuals in my life. I'm not using the word subliminal directly. That's the thing about like being an avid novel reader. Use a lot of words based on context, and you never got around to looking at the dictionary except when you could absolutely could not use context to understand what it meant. So you're not like using a partial definition of the word every time you use the word, and you're just like fucking with definition of this word. But anyway, get in for a personal conduct. I'll probably talk about it. So I don't know why the audio for the first one is just fucking trash, but like the audio for this one hopefully won't be trash because I'm freaking using I'm using a different recording stuff. The audio for the first one was trash because it was Anchor. I think this is going to be trash as well. I don't know. I'm the one who decided to record outside. Sorry. This is like the 5 of you. So like, what am I going to start with? Oh god, my stomach. It's a bad idea. I should have recorded it since I'm not even talking about like the adults bothering me. So like, whereas one probably for me to start word. Because like, I start with the first xianxia novel I ever read. I didn't even know how obviously I started reading xianxia. Yeah, I was looking for Japanese light novels. I started reading light novels before I started reading I was looking for Japanese light novels and I came across this xianxia novel. I think I finished it, yeah, the first one I ever finished. It's called Desolate Era. And it literally was a mediocre story. Let's be very honest, it was a mediocre story. And I read it before Stellar Transformation. It was a mediocre story, incredibly mediocre story about some really righteous. I just realized I've read a lot more engaging xianxia stuff about this really. And the thing is that they always have like this steady story for the next 500 chapters, the first 500 chapters, and you know, like do a very formulaic like version of that 500,000, like slightly watered down, and they do the same formula, like a watered down version of that first 500 chapters. I repeat it like 5 times in 500 chapters as well, and you're just there with 2,000 chapter monstrosity that makes zero sense. Like what else now? Chapter on chapter, you need to keep making out money. So like you be attached to this like intelligence, not necessarily intelligence. Like there's some like particularly disgusting as like 3,500, and you just realize that the character is only as intelligent as the author. And it's not that it's not in my place to say something because some people are really smart. They purposely write a very stupid character because it makes like good money, fast money, what have you. Or they try to put in self-insertion and basically like fantasy writing, like self-insertion fantasy in the sense that they believe that the world belongs to them, that their story is one that matters. But I don't think Desolate Era was self-inserting. It was more of a let's just write this good quote protagonist using my current morals. Like for example, a lot of especially self-instruction stories, they don't necessarily use their current morals. They use their morals which that serve their mind the morals that they'd have if they had morals. Do you get? Now some of those people are have zero morals, zero. But some of those people have like some twisted form of morals where whatever they do, whatever they decide to do is right. But like Jesse's era wasn't like that. It was the first one, and I'm lucky I started with the basic ones. And if I started with some of the ones that I've read, I'd have been pretty disgusted because it's basically harem trash for the most part. But I think what I like about like just her that guy and his own stuff is usually one woman and one reasonably talented woman. He literally drags out to the highest points by itself. But it's like one reasonably talented woman, no romance in between, but apparently she loves him. And that's the problem I have with a lot of young. They're like, you don't give me any reason to love you in quotes. Like, what is the reason? Like, all these women are just fucking there. And just Xianxia gives you a look into childish male fantasy. But then again, I have the same opinion of Xianxia that I have the same opinion of rap. Like, you can have a grown man talk about his emotions, his problems, his stress. But understanding that, especially as a female reader or as a female fan of rap, you understand, a female reader of the Asian novel and a female fan of rap, you understand that for the most part, women are considered an object, a reward for a man's success in a lot of men's fantasies. They're not literally considered individuals of our own. They're not considered um, persons of our own. But in Desolate Era, it's just so basic. But I like the world building in the sense that I have never experienced a world like that. Like, everybody's well versed with Western fantasy, like, and I think the fact that everybody's well versed with Western fantasy simply takes away the magic of it because it makes it seem, unless you start looking at Eastern, it's like Eastern Europe is basically the West too. Like, if you start looking at like Western fantasy in the context of The Witcher and whatever, you just realize there's a lot of aspects of Western fantasy that we know nothing about. But like to people who are in the West, they consider it not the West. And being the fact that it's an overused trope, and I'm like, these people's culture, just because they have spread it all over the world, either by force or by soft power, these people's culture has all of a sudden seems less unique because everybody's aware of all the details. Because everybody's aware of like how their magic structures entails and how unique stories are weaved. And but then again, the fact that almost everybody is understandable of like what the basic magic structure of like, I know this is talking to like weeble, okay, it's not weeble, it's like general nerd stuff like novels and manga and stuff and what have you territory. But like, you understand that this is going to that territory, and you understand that just because everybody's aware of like the way this story is submitted. The advantage is that a lot of Western novels are more character driven in that sense, but Eastern novels, you are will I won't call them Eastern novels because I haven't read like Eastern published novels. I read web novels which are basically long as fuck light novels, uh, or like webtoons in Word. But like web novels, you're willing to forgive a shit ton of bad writing because the world is so new. But now that I've read a lot of like cultivation stories, and now that they're very formulaic about rising in power, I'm now more interested in the main character's character. And I think this is I feel there's basically what I'm going to say is quite self-centered, but then again it's diary. I think Desert Era was lucky that it was the first thing I ever read. And I also think some Xianxia novels are lucky that I'm just reading them now because I wouldn't have given them a chance if they were the first thing I'd ever read because they'd be too offensive. Like, and which is also another thing I want to point out, especially when it comes to subliminal message. Understanding that just because I'm turning off my brain at this point, that doesn't mean that because I have decided to ignore this part of sexism that is occurring in this novel, but it doesn't mean I should forget and excuse it in real life. And also, every time people say it's just fantasy, when you want to bring up an argument for censorship, but they need to understand that human beings are not some kind of. We're not very. We like to tell I think we we are more reasonable than we actually are. Me saying that is prime example of a human being who thinks he's more reasonable. And I think accepting the fact that you're part of the masses, part of the mediocre masses, you understand that it's are you little here? Like it's just not that hard. And when you find yourself getting incredibly stressed, you realize it's not that hard. My life is not any more significant than the life of a beggar child. And in that vein, it's not that means it's not any more insignificant than the life of a billionaire. But even though in theory that is the case, in practice it is not. But in the grand scheme of things it is. Like even though like the micro scale aggressively affects you and you understand that you have to move forward. I know I'm just basically reiterating my life philosophy because you see this as a point of things in like the way I like look at things, the way I act for things, the way I believe things are. I think the intro is going to ruin everything. And you won't even get to the good part because the intro is so trash. But I have talked so much that I don't think I'd be willing to delete the intros or whatever, accept it. If you get to this point, you really like me then. Um, but like understanding that, how like describe this? Understanding that I'm not going to allow myself to just fall into traps because this is what somebody said. Like I think a lot reading something somewhere or hearing something somewhere is easy to accept it because the fact that somebody can put it in spoken or written word, obviously it must be facts. People have no reason to lie. I'm trying to be sarcastic in audio, well, without context. Think audio as text. But like you understand that oh god, the night sky is really beautiful out. And mosquitoes are not even that many today. I just like just walk. I want to have money. Like not like really rich. I know this is just completely and totally off point. I have nothing to do with the topic. But like the weather outside just it just makes me feel it just makes me want to I don't have like the concept of who I want to love. I don't have the concept of like I just want the vibe. I think I'm in love with love rather than in love with someone. I don't know. Life is just free and stressful. Like it's so stressful in the micro scale and has zero stress in the grand scheme of things. Now let's move on to subliminal messaging in xianxia novels. I I think the end all be all in Desolate Era was just conveniently inoffensive. It was just like it was slightly sexist and it's ideology of morality, which is something that I think I have to do with like I'm currently finally deciding to read Renegade Immortal, and I think I realized I didn't get as far as I thought I did when I started reading it. Well, I thought I got really far. I think I started Renegade Immortal when I didn't realize that 2000 chapters was like the standard stuff for like these Anxiety novels and not like the 800 of Stellar Transformation. But Stellar Transformation was like really old. So I feel like a lot of I don't remember the author's name. I never remember. They always phrases. A lot of the novels of that first guy, they're always conveniently inoffensive. But I like the fact that Tails transformation was like mediocre, very mediocre, and Desolate Era really like took in part a lot of like Chinese culture and stuff, and it literally helped like explain like the Buddhist influences. I need to understand that it's a Chinese novel, and it made me understand and it made me also want to avoid things. How will I explain? And something and made me and reading a lot of Xianxia novels. I know this is haphazard, but I didn't plan it and I'm just talking. Reading a lot of Xianxia novels made me understand things I'm willing to accept and things I'm not willing to accept. I am not willing to accept racism towards anybody. And to be honest, for the most part, Africans are generally Africans or races who are made to appear like us are generally disregarded in like xianxia novels, ignored, then people that are made to appear to be like Westerners are often seen as what's the word? And obviously there's only one race in xianxia novel. That race is Chinese. Unless they start talking about blue hair and appearance, they all have Chinese names, but they never seem to look Chinese. So like, and you just, but I don't want to think about people's perception of race and what they think of they look like because I don't want to make it person to be racist. But like, made me realize that I cannot stand racism or prejudice in any form, even when it's towards people that are not my people. Like, there's a shit ton of like hateful comments about Caucasians generally, especially I think it's their own rather than Xianxia because Xianxia generally focus the entire society is like Chinese based and aggressively focuses on like I don't think I've ever seen a Xianxia novel where the Buddhists win. Like obviously like the Buddhist is seen as a respected and like good sect because there are a lot of Chinese Buddhists, but Confucianisms and Taoists and whatever are often seen as the main character's religion in quotes so to speak. And the fact that this is they've been relegated to a form of fantasy. So many segments and I have like grandmama arms. They relegated to a form of fantasy to make you realize that everything in the animals are just um are to be treated with but like there's this massive thing that cultivators are always Confucianists or Taoists or whatever. Taoists, they always look Taoists. And Buddhist is respected, Buddhism is respected. Unless maybe they are focusing on like Western influences and what have you. And that's like the basic foundation of the exam. It does give a general outside perception and you be like, ah yes, accept that all that originates from this book is writing. The outside stuff is trash. But like I don't know about their culture. But understanding that people talk about things and people make decisions based on those stuff like people often say that oh okay it's just a novel it's just something fun but you need to understand that people can feel that and there's one thing that generally bothers me about like novels it's like other like like I said racism is my bottom line if I see like aggressive form of racism in a book and look at in a novel I know how bad it is but there are other things that, like, especially the morality of the main character. No, I like the idea of morally ambiguous main characters, but because a lot of web novels are designed in the structure of like the main character will prevail, they don't have situations where the main character dies. They don't have situations where um, the main character is tortured and is made to live a horrible life, or they don't have situations like, and they don't have situations where even if the main character succeeds, it's seen as an ominous ending because it's always seen as the main character succeeding, no matter how morally ambiguous this main character is what do you call it? Is right and just, and we should all be happy for the main character. But and there's also one thing that I want to point out in the sense that understanding that main characters there's one thing that is prevalent in lots of Nigerian novels. I feel is a key thing that wants to bring about subliminal messages. I think in a lot of like casual Chinese literature, even like non-Xianxia related, even the ones targeted towards female audience, is the obsession with power. The obsession with I will take out five of your eyes if you take out one of my own. I will torture your children if you just like broke my pinky finger. And funny enough, the ones that do not follow these rules are not considered popular novels because obviously their romantic subject matter are usually not that generally accepted by society. But like ignore that. But in general, popular ones, like in general, like woman becomes hero, man becomes hero, he takes control of the environment, that kind of thing. And those kind of stories. I don't know why this stuff is popping up is recording. I don't know, maybe the headphones are shitty. But like in those kind of stories, you have incidents where the obsession with power is. I try to use the word. It's almost as if that line is in every single xianxia novel, and it's the vibe. It's a vibe, and I'm trying to condense that vibe into a word, into a sentence. In a sense that they believe that there is no morality. I believe that as well, but I do not like the way it's presented. Like, yes, you need power to determine morality, but they are obsessed with the facts. Because I think it's something. This is me bringing theories from my ass, but they're obsessed with the fact that the powerful determine what is right. I do not think the powerful determine what is right. Everybody knows what is right, but the powerful is allowed to get away. The powerful is allowed to get away with what's wrong. I'm going to be a lot of like terminology over this. So like I'm certain the powerful doesn't determine what is right, but they are allowed to get away with what is wrong. Which is something, a narrative that no matter how much is mentioned to me, I must remind myself that even that I cannot, even because even in dumb stupid novels, like a lot of people who read like really daft romance novels, they know that the story is daft, they know that the story is not realistic, but they are open to this weird ideology that it can happen to some people in certain circumstances. No, it's going to happen to no people in certain circumstances. Doing one wrong thing because you are powerful doesn't make that thing right. It means, and I hate that wording of it because it excuses the main character's desire to torture uninvolved people for vengeance. Do you get? Because obviously we know the main character, we know this, oh, the suffering and the hurt they've been through. But like, it doesn't excuse you. It doesn't excuse this behavior. It doesn't allow for this rubbish. It just it just it just vibes. Like it just makes you feel like the whole the whole thing is pointless, and you should obsessively gather power and wealth so you can, for the sole purpose of humiliating other people. And that should not be so. I understand that in I think it goes with the idea that you should never be naive. You should never, what's the word, but naivete is not necessarily a bad thing. Naivete, I see me saying naivete as if I know how to pronounce that word. Naivety, whatever. Like being naive is not necessarily a bad thing. It should be, how do I describe it? It should be understanding that things are, but understanding that people are people and people do people things, and whatever human beings do should never shock you. But you should be prepared to react to it either once that happened, or if you're not naive, you made a plan to fix it like before that happened. No direction. But understanding that one key thing is that you shouldn't. What is my concept of morals? Like, yes, the argument that the concept of morals are handed to you by your parents and there is no morality. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, based on our inconsequential behaviors, there is no concept of morality. But even if there's no concept of morality, my foundation of morality is stability. My foundation of morality is effectiveness. And effectiveness for all of population. I was about to say majority of population. But if you have a standard that is fair in quotes, I don't think anybody will fall through the cracks. Unless it's something that cannot be helped and is attributed to like emotional and relational toxicness within um family structures and what have you that the state is responsible for. And but obviously there should be societal systems in place to fix such people and punish those who have committed harm unto others. So that's the reason I feel like reading all instead of most when it comes to like talking about like social justice and like societal movements and everything like that. Because you understand that you can't just say, but I know this is going down. Like I am a socialist, or no, I don't believe. I feel we are too trashy to be socialists. We are so obsessed with the idea that you deserve more for your efforts. Even though like there are other things that make up efforts, there are other things that make up efforts, like opportunity, luck, positioning, birth, that supplement efforts for growth. And you understand that not everybody is going to be wealthy. But it's not about anybody can be wealthy, but it's a question of what is our lower middle. What is the bottom level that people are not allowed to go beneath? We should have a limit as to how poor we're allowed to be based on certain things. Obviously, the argument would be, I know this is going down the socialist rabbit hole, but the idea was to have, I used these stories that I remember. I literally only mentioned Destiny Era. But like right now I'm talking about Renegade Immortal. And I have these stories, Renegade Immortal, this creepy rapist, stuff that I will never read. What they call it? Martial God Asura. It's like almost 4,000 chapters. I don't want that main character to succeed. It's the most disgusting thing ever. And he's a creepy rapist who castrates people. But like I'm falling into the concept of like we should have bottom limits. And obviously, in order to ensure that some people don't fall beneath that bottom limit, you have to protect people from themselves in the sense of like people who fall into like gambling traps and what have you. Like your ability to gamble should be minimized the closer you are to the bottom limit. Just to ensure that you never fall past the bottom limit or drag children into this world who are beneath the bottom limit. Like obviously, sometimes I often think about the concept of forced sterilization. It comes obviously I'm reading a lot of Xianxia novels who are from origin from a country that has practiced forced sterilization, has forced sterilization. But I would say that people often think that oh you force people to have a half of slavery, like it's an authoritarian government. But you understand that if people's lives become better, if people have more meaning to their life than the like general boring monotonous existence that is just like walking up around down and producing children, you understand that people just don't have as much children because they have other things to do with their life, other things that keep them fulfillment. And if and when they choose to bring offspring into this world, they are often cared for to a certain degree that doesn't like often the reason why I use the word often is because sometimes people bring offspring based for obligation, people to take care of them even after they are aware that they are very wealthy individuals. But it's still bringing offspring to take care of themselves in the idea that their society will collapse and they won't have things that they won't their position won't collapse, or they want an individual that shares their blood, like in this kind of weird twisted form of immortality, to hand over their businesses to. I know this is just random, but I didn't plan for this stuff, and I just wanted to like share my thoughts and talk about random stuff with this like poorly put together um audio stuff. So yeah, I think this is all for Jiangxia Novel. After this, I'm probably going to go on and talk about like YouTube ideologies because that's all I literally spend my time. I read questionable manga. I'm currently on over like I've been jumping around chapters. I think being like in the most recent chapter for RMG allows me make sure it doesn't even make sure that I read every single word because sometimes it's just like meaningless information, and I've gotten this shitty habit of skipping through books. But like yeah, you just see like various aspects of my philosophy, and I wouldn't I as a human being don't know, like I'm 23 and a half. I'm 23 and a half, and I have 6.5 years to 30. I cannot think beyond 30 because beyond 30 is ancient to me, even though I have a sibling over 30 and a sibling turning 30. I don't know, it's just far. An existence an existence is just far. But like for personal plan, I want to be financially stable. And once I'm financially stable, I want to find me a human. Another human I'm not related to give stuff to. So that's just like casual conversation about like general theories, xianxia novels, and what have you. I couldn't like randomly think up of stuff and like make it sound like things that made sense, things that what have you, because I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have any interesting plot points or any. Because as usual, I didn't plan. But what I've been reading, I'm reading Renegade Immortal. So maybe let me talk about Renegade Immortal right now. When you talk about the main character of Renegade Immortal is called Wanklin. I can't pronounce it. It's probably pronounced completely different in the other language. But if he, the parents are unimportant in the formation story. Now the problem I have with Renegade Immortal, I think I should sit down and just stop because that is the one I'm currently reading and that's the one I've been reading for the past few weeks because I've been reading web novels and webtoons and manga in between because like web novels are just like stressful to like read. I've been so that's what's going to the next section is going to be about me talking about Renegade Immortal. I'm very sure the intro turned you off and you didn't get to listen up to this point. But I'll talk about Renegade Immortal and close. So let's talk about Renegade Immortal. I don't know if these headphones are working because it just sounds like progressively worse today than it sounded before. Maybe my voice is not loud enough. I don't know. It probably didn't work. And these ones are cars that are passing. I literally stopped to sit down. I continue my walk and spread it and make it hear the awful sound. So like I said, the main character of Renegade Immortal is not very important. It's not very important. The main character of Renegade Immortal is not very. No, the main character is very important. The main character's parents are not very important. They're just like, oh my god, I want to fight. And I don't know whether they think he's a genius or he's just tenacious. Do you get like, is he a genius or I'm doing that thing again, the one where I never bothered to like look in the dictionary to have like the definition of word and I'm just speaking. I don't know whether he's just a genius or if he's just like aggressively sticks to what he wants and never lets go of it because author really doesn't. So like in that situation where and the Renegade Immortal also suffers like that of a lot of things in that sense that it talks about how Dao basically translates to the way. It talks about how gaining enlightenment and finding the Dao and getting confidence and understanding the path and the nature of principles. And basically it's high sounding stuff. I think the ones that I know don't that are actually quite believable in the behaviors and we have Tao or Dao. I like the Japanese translation better. Tao sounds cooler. So I don't know, Dao or Tao, they both sound really cool. So like a lot of xianxia novels fall victim to yes, you gain power through understanding of laws, understanding of the way, understanding of the path, understanding of the heavens. So and principles that which things function. But they have characters that do not like we because like I said in the beginning, you have this situation where the person recycles 500 chapters and goes to the beginning. You have these characters that do not exemplify all this like hype of the Dao because they behave like fucking ninth graders. Like the whole ideology of that having this one person who is exactly a certain way. Or, okay, typical one is you kill an arrogant person and they fight and they have a baka, you fight with the baka has a baka, and you guys keep on fighting in that like direction. But like, how did they get to that point? How did this person in each new level of living, how did they reach this level of comprehension? If they must understand laws, if they must understand past, if they must understand life and death, if they must understand the principle of karma, how are they so childish? Which is something I think Death's era doesn't suffer from. Renegade Immortal kind of suffers from. But like even though like they're more fun and more like enjoyable, and I know like Record of Immortals during summer time does not suffer from this at all because people are reasonable. Nobody needs to fight you for you. Like as the story goes on, like obviously I understand that it seems like very unbelievable, but I think that's the way it's structured because it's so focused on the main character finding the path, finding the Dao, finding immortality, moving forward. People don't get idiotic. The people are less and less idiotic with less and less stupid daft schemes because they're far ahead in the Dao. And people don't die for stupid shit because they're far ahead in the Dao. But the problem, the Desert Era also does not have this problem. The reason why it doesn't have this problem is that it leans aggressively into like Chinese mythology and god gods and what have you. But it also makes the evil characters quite one-dimensional in the sense that they are evil because it is their, not that they are evil, but because it is their role to cause chaos and the destruction of the universe. It's not that they are evil, that is just their role in the universe to cause chaos and to bring forth calamity. So you cannot see them as human, you see them as a force of nature. And you see like your main character drowning in as a force of nature as he becomes a god. He becomes less human, which is the problem that I feel like a lot of Desert Era stellar transformation they face. But like, is either that or the main character and everybody else is idiotically like they don't show signs that they have understood the laws, that they've understood karma, that they possess great knowledge, like martial god of Asura. Oh god, that thing's fucking disgusting. Like thinking about this whole story just makes my body itch and how they think rape is a punishment. If you derive pleasure in in meeting as a punishment, then you are a horrible person. That's I think what is the concept of morality? I think that is always what a lot of um I wouldn't I think that's the reason why I know this can go into an entire discussion on religion and the twisting your faith based words. But you understand that the basic things that we've kind of accepted that morality is a human concept. But that, like I said before, that doesn't give you the right to twist it because maybe because my own. Did me dirty, sin did me dirty. It did that unable to retrieve audio from stuff and if problem persists. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. And I wasn't looking at it. Whatever, there are going to be gaps in the story. Did I have a plan? Probably not. But just know today I'm taking a walk outside. The sky is beautiful. It's probably going to rain in the night. There are a few stars out. There's never lights. Our street lights don't work anymore. We're just existing. We're just vibing. I don't think. I'm still not triggered about being at home, but drowning myself in entertainment either makes me more critical, makes me want to like look at this like stuff. I think this is more of like my more philosophical episode in an attempt to be fun. It's just cyclic and has no plot, and I think it, like the questions I have about morality and concepts that I often come up with in daft harem like xianxia novel with author fan fiction satisfaction and general stuff, because it makes me realize that I keep saying I don't want to care, but like I think I'm getting closer to not caring because I'm here, and being here and understanding that other people are human. I think it's like obviously like if you just say that I'm here and I'm not here to suffer, then it means that you're willing to do whatever it takes, even dragging other people and causing suffering and torture into the lives of other people, just so that you will be happy. Just so that you will be happy. I don't think I can do that because I've accepted other people as human. And if I've accepted other people as human, then I should respect their boundaries. I should respect their hopes and aspirations and dreams. That is my own personal philosophy. That is what I've chosen to live by. And like I've said several times, and I think this is just me constantly creating the foundation of my faith. Understanding, I think I should use the word faith because I want to be like a very, very tacky shonen protagonist, because obviously I don't think, because religion is not seen as a real thing except in the aid of Rick and what have you in like those societies. Another subliminal thing that I should probably discuss, but like I the reason I'm saying foundation of my faith is I want to have faith in myself, faith in the things that I'm capable of doing. I want to just do things and just do them well. I like there's one thing that I've always wanted to do, but like it bothers me that I cannot draw. I cannot draw. But and I want to take pictures. I want to approach people and take pictures of really pretty looking people and tell them that they look nice, and take pictures of them, then reimagine them as people in African fantasy, reimagine them as people in maybe like tomorrow when my mother goes shopping, I should open my laptop and type and just fucking type as much as I can and type and just like type. I did write like a weird stuff about like this relator. I don't even know what the novel is. This relator, this space relator. I think I was very inspired in the sense of that guy who wrote Dick's World and the guy who wrote Guides Galaxy stuff, Terry Pratchett. Is he the one that wrote the Galaxy one? But like generally Terry Pratchett style of writing, I was really, and I wanted to do that kind of vibes for like a relator who lived on a planet and who sold like weird short stories with prompts and like interesting things. And I think I want to have like a collection of short stories. It doesn't have to be like weird and artsy. I think the obsession is the obsession I have with difficulty writing stories that it's weird and artsy. Just write, then edit like 10 times, and then you have a good story. I think that is one thing that bothers me about is editing. I think I should stop and write short chapter scenarios and post it on Wattpad. Then I need to like get back into data science. I need to update my portfolio. Just because I've technically gotten 2 jobs doesn't mean I should just abandon my, because obviously the prowess I displayed in the interviews, they have to see it in when I resume, whichever one I decide. I'm still posting people, but like yeah, this is just pointless. I wish I could clean up this audio and stuff, but I'm still too kind of lazy, still wasting my internet on pointless things. But like I think once I start earning a reasonable salary, which is soon, I want to start like an internet fund account and buy 1 terabyte internet. That's just 1,000 gig. 1,000 gig isn't much. But like buy 1 terabyte of internet and just um and be serious about like editing my podcast audio, getting a mic. So write a to-do list of when to buy, like when you make enough money. First, I want to buy like good skincare. I already use really good skincare. My skin is in a good place. But like skincare ingredients I really want, like things like sun care supplements and stuff. And then uh get what do you want to get again? Um and get and seriously learn how to draw, like maybe like saving funds that I'm probably going to start save for a an iPad and save for an iPad and a stylus, save for like so I can properly use Procreate, or like save for a crayon pad, and but then you still then so I can properly use Procreate and learn how to draw. I really, oh God, I want to learn how to draw. Because there's so many people I want to represent that would just look so cool in sci-fi art, in sci-fi. And I understand that if you don't do it, like write what you want to read, draw what you want to see. That's the vibes I'm giving. I don't know. It has been a personal code of conduct. This was just very rambly. I had nothing to say. And bye.